Hey guys, Shawn here. So, all right, so I'm going to do my personal top 10 most profound Mandela effects. Okay? Now, Cece can tell you it only takes one profound, unmistakable Mandela effect to change everything. But I'm going to give you 10 unmistakable, no fucking way I'm misremembering bullshit. Yeah, this changed for me. Mandela effects. Okay. So I have a little list here. Okay. So number 10, mirror, mirror on the wall. Who's the fairest of them all? So the Snow White story. Now I don't have this photographic fucking memory of the show. I do not have this really strong. That's why it's number 10 and not number 1. I do not have this really strong complementary memory of Mirror Mirror on the Wall. Okay? But I saw that movie, the old cartoon. I had a little sister. I babysat my nieces a lot. I saw that cartoon a lot of times. It wasn't just the exposure to the media and the memes and all that shit. I was exposed to that movie a lot of times. Mirror, mirror. It was like so obvious. It was mirror, mirror. Like I know it was. You know what's funny? Like a long time ago, when Mandela Effect started to become like bigger and like people were talking about it, you'd have the people who didn't like the Mandela Effect and say, "Oh my God, another blah blah blah, bears see bears and mirror mirror. Oh my God, like oh." But anyway, the point is, mirror mirror, like it was so like that. Okay, magic mirror. Never fucking heard that in my life. Well, I probably come across those two words together, but magic mirror on the wall? What the fuck? Right after I first learned about Mandela effect, that was one of the earlier ones. And then I looked at the clip on YouTube and the original fucking Snow White and magic mirror on the I was like, holy shit, this is crazy. I was so excited because things were changing. It was awesome. So yes, mirror mirror. Definitely mirror mirror. Okay. Number 9. Snoopy, the Peanuts comics. Charles Schultz. Now it's Charles Schulz. Okay, no T in the fucking name anymore. Charles Schulz, not Charles Schultz. Why do I know for sure it changed for me? Now, of course, it didn't change. I just moved into a reality where that's not the case anymore. It's a different spelling. Because Charles Schultz is burned into my brain. I've seen it so many times in print, I can see it in my mind, and it's Schultz with a T. I'm sure. I am sure that it was Schultz with a fucking T. There's no doubt in my mind whatsoever. I can picture it. I've seen it a lot of times. I've said it out loud. I've said the name. I've said the name by thinking about how the letters go together, and there was a T. It wasn't Schulz. Okay? Number 8. Andrew Zimmern, that food guy, Andrew Zimmerman. Really strange, man, because it was so Zimmerman for me and many others. And actually, everybody at my job that I asked, I put up on my computer at work a big picture of his face. His name is across the top. I have Andrew and I have a Z, I, M, and then I covered the rest. Every fucking person I asked, about 9 people. No, well, let me take this back. Nobody said Zimmer. Everybody I asked, either I'm not quite sure, I think it was 2 or 3 people. The other 6, 7 people said Zimmerman. They came up by themselves with the name Zimmerman, which is exactly what it was for me. Zimmerman. Not no fucking Zimmern. Never saw that before. Till after the Berenstain Bears showed up, and then Zimmern was here. Zimmerman. No doubt about it. I am certain. Okay. Number 7. The guy who made the original Twilight Zone, Rod Serling. Yes, Sterling. There's a guy, pretty smart guy, Star Gods. Look him up. He's a very interesting guy. Um, if you're into flat Earth, you probably come across him. He talks about that stuff a lot. He started talking about Mandela effect recently. At first he's like, no, but then now he's like, yeah. And Rod Serling really got him good. It got me good too. I used to watch all the Twilight Zones. Loved them. The 80s versions too, the new like colored versions. Very interesting. The movie, the Twilight Zone movie, super interesting. Always loved Twilight Zone. And it was always Rod Serling. Just like Charles Schultz, Rod Serling is burned into my brain. I can see it. I used to watch the Twilight Zone. They would have him as a credit, obviously, and it was Sterling, not no fucking sirloin steak. It was Rod Sterling with a T. No question about it. No doubt about it. And there are many others who are saying the exact same thing. Okay. Number 6. The Great Pyramids in Giza. So, there is a lot of changes with the pyramids. Before that, I even knew about Mandela effect, I noticed that the pyramids had changed. Okay? Now, there are plenty of people out there, plenty of information about how the pyramids changed. So I'm just going to specify a couple things that really hit home for me because I remembered it clearly. When I first got Google Earth, the first thing I wanted to see was the pyramids, and it was just so awesome to be able to like look around and check out the deserts and oh man, in the Sahara. So the city, the proximity of the city, and CC can tell you as well. But the the city was so freaking close to the pyramids now that I couldn't believe it. Because when I saw the pyramids a few years back, the city was further away. Without question, the city was further away. We're talking like a couple hundred yards, not no fucking borderline. Also, the pyramids themselves seemed eroded. They seemed more crumbly. They just did not seem as together as I remembered. The top of the Great Pyramid, and not a lot of people talk about this, the top is actually flat. There are pictures, and you can look it up, where you can see like metal like wire or metal poles to like it looks like a ceramic like project or something. But anyway, and the pyramids in front, the 3 smaller pyramids that are in front of the big pyramids are like so worn down and eroded now it blows my mind. They were in much better shape before. Okay. Number 6. Bear with me for a second here. Okay. Number 6. The Berenstain Bears. Wow. The Berenstain Bears. All right, I'm back. I had to take a little break here. This is number 5, not 6. I already did 6. Okay, number 5, Berenstain Bears. So this was the first Mandela effect I came across. See, about 2 months prior to learning about the Berenstain Bears, I learned about the Berenstain Bears in August 2015. So this actually was in March. So actually way before. So in March 2015, that's when I started to really get the parallel reality stuff. and how real it was. And it was amazing. It was amazing. It was just like the light bulb went off. Everything started to like make sense. And then everything started to get really weird for me. So the Berenstein Bears, I was looking at like parallel realities and I was studying that. And then I came across an article online about, are you from a parallel reality? Berenstein Bears problem. And I saw it said something about Berenstain Bears, and I was like, yeah, that's like. And then, but I quickly realized, wait a minute, is that what it is now? Is it Berenstain? No way. No way. No. No way. No way. So I just kind of opened up a new tab, typed in Berenstein Bears, did Google image, saw some books and movies, and they're all Berenstain. Talk about having your mind blown. Now, back in March 2015, my mind already blew because I had that revelation about how the timelines work. Like I cognitively knew about stuff, but when it actually became a visceral, real experience, my mind was partially blown. And then I got used to this new reality where you can move into different timelines and you can shape your future. And then all of a sudden, the Berenstain Bears came around, and I realized Mandela effect, and my mind blew a second time. Now, my mind hadn't blown from stuff I was learning about for years prior to that. So, like when I say mind blown, it's like a consciousness expansion. I had this accelerated learning in 1999 to 2001, and then I kind of plateaued for a number of years, and then boom, acceleration again. Okay, so Berenstain Bears. I don't really need to say much more about Berenstain Bears. I'm sure you can relate. Okay, number 4. Forrest Gump. Life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. And now it's life was like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. Really? Now I watched that movie in the theater, and I that one line was the one I used to say all the time. I really like the line, life is like a yes, life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. I used to say it all the time. I used to imitate Forrest Gump and say that actual line. Seen the movie many times, heard the line many times, said the line many times. And it was and then when it changed to was. Now here's the funny thing. After I learned about Mandela effect and the Berenstain Bears, I was like doing my own research. Okay? So this is like July, August 2015. I'm like, holy shit. So I'm like I'm like, all right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to look at the top 100 famous movie quotes. I'm going to see if any of them changed. Because the Berenstain Bears changed. God knows what else changed. So yes, top movie quotes, and I'm going through. I'm like, boom, Forrest Gump. Life was like a box of chocolates. That's wrong, and I knew it. Like, bam, I knew it was wrong. Its life is like a box of chocolates. What the fuck is life was like a box of chocolates? After you pass away, you reflect on your life and realize, no, he was saying his mom was telling him that while you're going through life, it's like a box of fucking chocolates. Is Yes. So I went on Fiona Broom's Mandela Effect website, mandelaeffect.com, and said, and you can probably you can probably look and find like the Forrest Gump thing, and I put Shawn, just Shawn is the name, and I was like, holy shit, now like this is changing too, like is Forrest even Forrest Gump's not safe from this. It changed. And then I swear to God, the next day, I guess I was the straw that broke the camel's back with that story for Fiona Broom, because the next day she had an article about like this was before a lot of the Mandela effects. It was just getting started, and she like the big ones. And she had an article, and the front page was Forrest Gump changing, and then my comments on there. But anyway, yeah, no doubt about it. Don't try and tell me that it was always life was like a box of chocolates for me. Maybe it was for you, but it wasn't for me. I know it wasn't. Many others also. All right. All right. So, number 3, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Change to it's a beautiful day in this neighborhood. It sounds so different. Like, really? This neighborhood? Now, how do I know for sure? Why is this number 3 on my list? Because I grew up with that show, and I watched that show all the time. Just like Charles Schultz and Rod Sterling are burned into my head, that line in that song is burned into my head. I can hear him saying it because I heard it so many times. And when I heard It's a Beautiful Day in This Neighborhood, it sounded alien. There's a guy at my work who has strong connections to this current timeline and does not have many of the Mandela effects, but that was the first one that got him. And he's like, no way. That is not what I experienced. I'm like, yeah, man. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, not no fucking this neighborhood. Total change. Number 2, Field of Dreams. Yep, the Field of Dreams. Now, there are people out there who are like, what are you talking about? No, it's always been, he will come, and here's why, and here's how it makes sense in the movie. Yes, for you. Some people experience a reality where one thing happens. Other people experience a reality where another thing happens. Other people have experienced a reality where in a whole, even a different one, whatever, you know. Now, there's a couple videos I have on this subject of Field of Dreams because it was so personal. Because I remember when I watched the movie for the first time, figuring out what the message was all about, that they will come. Who were they and what was going to happen? And then the baseball field and the ball players. So, even more so, at the end of the movie with the long line of cars, I was like, oh, maybe they was referring to all the people coming to watch instead of the baseball players. It was, for me, they will come. I am absolutely, positively certain it was they. There's no question. Number 1, the map changes. Of course. There's so many. I'll just identify a couple. Like the Panama Canal. Its orientation changed. It went from a more east-west direction to a more north-south direction. When I first got Google Earth, besides the pyramids, I was super interested in, like, I wanted to see how the ships would go on the Panama Canal, and I like looked close and I followed it along and totally changed orientation. China having a less of a landmass, it was smaller. Mongolia appeared. I don't remember Mongolia being there, but the thing that really hit home was that Mongolia took up part of China's landmass, and in this timeline, the United States is a bigger country than China by land. But when I was growing up, it wasn't. I studied that stuff. Top 5 list. That was one of my things. Top 5 biggest countries in size. Top 5 biggest countries in population. Top 5 states in size. Top 5 cities in population. Like I studied all that stuff. Definitely, China was number 3 in size. You're not. Oh, you got the 666. He's a devil guy. He's trying to trick you. So anyway, China was number 3. United States was number 4 in size. Brazil was 5. Russia or the Soviet Union, either one, was number 1. And Canada was number 2. I remember being in school and we were talking about the subject of the largest countries in size. And this was like 10th grade, and I personally knew about this stuff because I used to study. I used to like learn about this stuff, and I used to like figure out my own top 5 lists. And China was 3, and the United States was 4, and Brazil was 5. And my teacher was saying the same thing about the size rankings, and he had mentioned if it wasn't for Alaska, U.S. and Brazil would trade places, and Brazil would be 4, and the U.S. would be 5. No. In this timeline, Mongolia's there, China's smaller now. So all of a sudden, U.S. is 3, China is 4, Brazil is 5. All right, guys. Top 10. That's what I got.